We are, of course, here in a nervous system regulation masterclass. So we will start strong with a nervous system regulation tool to arrive and to ground ourselves. And I will show you, the first thing that I'm going to show you is one of my favorite nervous system regulation tools. So I know that some of you have been like working before, just arriving home. So let's just take a minute and ground into this space. And one of my most favorite regulation tools is called Orienting. And Orienting you do by watching slowly through the room that you are in. So I invite you to slide with your eyes through the objects and elements you see in your room until you reach the back of your room. Okay, so the goal is to slowly slide over your furniture, things that you can see so far ahead that so far back that you stretch a little bit of your neck too, right? And then you're going to do the other side too. So you turn back to the other side of your room, and while you do this, you slide slowly over objects and things of your room, and until you reach again the back of your room, and you have a slight stretch in your neck here. And when you do that again, going back again, sliding with your eyes, a soft gaze throughout the objects and the furniture and whatever you can see with your eyes through your room, I invite you to look for something that is pleasant for you. So while you look through the room and through the objects, I invite you to find something that you particularly like. It can be a color, it can be, again, an object, it can be something in your room, a view out of your window, whatever it is. I invite you to stop there and to be present for a second with that thing, whatever it is. Again, it can be a color, it can be a wall, it can be whatever you find in your room, and to just stay present and almost build a connection with that thing. Just observe the details, observe whatever you find pleasant about it. And then take a deep breath. Beautiful. There is my neighbor dog howling. I don't know if you can hear him. If you can, just so you know that it's a dog from my neighbor. Okay, and then I slowly invite you to come back. Beautiful. So, can somebody guess why this is regulating for our nervous system? Can you tell me in the chat? I'm curious if you can guess already what are the elements of this exercise of sliding through a room slowly, like from one side to the other, and then really sticking somewhere that feels nice and something that feels nice to us, and just having a short, present connection, interaction with this thing, whatever that is. Can somebody guess what is so nice about that? Okay. Let me see. Let me just open my chat. I didn't even open my chat. Ah, there it is. The presence, exactly. Yeah, to be connected to the present, reorienting your attention and taking time to intentionally ground. Exactly. Yes. So basically, everything that dysregulates us, not everything, a lot of things that dysregulate us has to do with our mind and with the future or the past or imaginary things that we are stuck in usually. Because most of us in our daily life, when you look at where we sit, even if it's at the work or in your bed or wherever you are in an anxious, dysregulated state, your environment is safe. So when you do the orienting technique, and I do this also while I walk my dog, for example, because often when we walk, and it should actually be a pleasant thing, we walk with the tunnel vision, and we have like the steps of, I need to do this, and this signalizes to our body that we are stressed, that we need to run. And when we stop and when we orient, when we do this exercise, and I do this literally every day when I walk my dog, and it's a huge game changer, because when you do this, you signalize to your body and you show your body, you literally say, look, this is where we are. We are in a room. There's nothing happening. You can't chill, right? This is what we say when we do this exercise, and I love it. I do it also when I'm long on my laptop and I need to look away, right? And just ground for a second because I was too excited or stressed with it. So exactly, making your nervous system feeling safe about its environment. Exactly, point on. Okay, so one last thing. I'm gonna just share with you the little agenda of today, okay, just quickly. What we're gonna do is build in like 5 elements. One, the introduction. Today, I will give you a little introduction of everything. I'm going to show you how the nervous system works. I'm going to show you how to heal the nervous system. I'm going to share with you a group program for people who want to know more about it. But even if you don't want the group program, everything I'm going to share with you today will be very valuable. And then we're going to have a Q&A. So if you have questions, I invite you to write them down first and then ask them at the end. Okay, I will probably not go through the chat throughout it. Okay, let's start, everybody. I want to first, of course, introduce myself because I know there are many people out there who see me for the first time. I am Tamara, and I am a family constellation therapist and a systemic coach. And I work mostly with women, but also with men, on overcoming blockages and everything that holds them back from actually living a pretty nice life, okay? And family constellations are, for those who don't know, one of the most powerful tools to heal transgenerational and family and relational topics and trauma in general. Okay, so then I'm gonna share with you a little bit of my story. If you have followed me on Instagram so far, you know the story already, but I'm gonna share for the people who don't know. I am on my healing journey since I was 16. I was diagnosed back then as a teenager with PTSD, with depression, and with an eating disorder. And I had many, many more mental health issues. And I started very early to work on myself and to figure out what I can do to feel better. And I tried many things. I would say that my biggest passion in life are actually tools that actually work, right? Because I tried them all. Of course not, but like this is how it feels like. I feel like I tried them all. I tried them from the energetics and energy healing, Reiki, spiritual things like ayahuasca, probably somewhere in between, to the really grounded scientific stuff of psychotherapy and like hypnotherapy, somatic work, right? Like I tried a lot of things in between. And throughout the years, I'm 30 now. So throughout the years, I could heal a lot of my symptoms, right? But last year in summer, like summer 2023, I went to my psychotherapist and I told her, look, I actually have a very nice life right now. I actually managed throughout those years to build a life that I'm very proud of. I love my relationship. I love my business. I love where I live. I love myself. I love a lot of things. But I still wake up every day with anxiety and with my chronic pain. I always had stomach problems, which is a symptom of my trauma. I always had stomach problems and pain. So I told her I still wake up every single day, even though my lifestyle is very chill here next to the beach in Portugal. It couldn't be more chill, basically. I have a business that I can organize however I want. I have a loving relationship. I literally don't have anything more puzzles to put on. But I still wake up with this racing thoughts, and I still wake up with this kind of energy of, oh my God, something is going to happen. I need to take care of everything. And throughout the day, this anxiety would turn into my pain, right? And then my therapist said that I should maybe take medication. And I generally don't have anything obviously against medication, but I was like, this doesn't feel right, because like, look at my life, like everything is nice. I don't feel like this is the time now where I should now take medication. You know, it just didn't feel right. And I was confused. I was irritated by it. I was like, no, there must be another tool. Can't you give me like another tool? Can't you? Because I feel like I literally just need to teach my body to relax. It's like my body didn't caught up on the life that I have right now. It still thinks that we need to fight. And then I told her, look, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to now dive deep into nervous system regulation. And if that doesn't help, then I will take medication. And I worked with 2 coaches after that. I bought books. I bought more courses from 3 more other people who work with nervous system regulation. I tried to figure out how to do it. And everything that I learned, I will share with you today. And about my journey, I am anxiety and pain-free for the first time in my life. I literally don't wake up anymore with anxiety. And every time I have my stomach pain, instead of taking pills, which I did until last summer, I am just doing my tools now, and then my pain goes away. It literally melts away. It's still mind-blowing to me every single time I do it. So I'm going to share with you everything I know. Okay, let me see. What's all this fuss about this nervous system? Let me know in the chat. I'm very, very curious to know where you are on your nervous system journey. Are you somebody who never heard about it and you just signed up to see what it is? Are you somebody who heard about it but never actively worked with it? Are you somebody who worked a little bit with it but couldn't really figure out your way to do it? Or are you somebody who really already works with nervous system regulation tools and is just here to kind of broaden their education and information? Completely new to it. Oh, that's exciting. Okay, cute. I know that there are many of my clients here who have already worked with it too. Okay, beautiful. Never heard about it. Not new, but very curious. Ah, okay. Cool. Ah, yeah, especially in regard to relationships, exactly. That's a big one. Nervous system regulation in relationships is a huge topic. I'm going to share that in my group program too, a lot about it. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that there's so many people who are completely new to it. So, I learned whatever I'm going to teach you, I learned from many people out there, okay? But before we start, I want to just talk about something that is dear to my heart, okay? Because I don't want you to come into this masterclass and think that nervous system regulation will heal all of your problems, okay? Who knows, like, I don't know, I know that I have fallen in this trap many times, that when I read a new book or I sign up for a new course or I do something new, that it's almost like this hope that it will kind of be the solution, like the solution to my problems, you know? Like maybe behind this masterclass, maybe behind this coach, maybe behind this is like the solution that will save me from all of my problems. Yes, I see some of you reacting already. Yeah, I just want to, ground yourself a little bit in like reality and say and share, because I have worked on so many levels of my being and with so many tools, I can tell you that yes, it is one of the most powerful tools I have worked with, but it has its limitations, okay? It will not solve everything, but it will increase your quality of life immensely, okay? I can guarantee that just because it's science. So I'm gonna share it with you, but I don't want you to think that this is like, it will solve everything. And I'm gonna share some of the limitations a little bit later on. Okay, so the goal of today, in general, about nervous system regulation is emotional regulation. It's increasing your toolbox. It's feelings of safety, calm, and empowerment, and capacity for abundance. I want to just stop for a second here and explain to you what I mean with capacity for abundance. I truly believe that a regulated nervous system can hold a lot of good things, because if you have a sensitive nervous system that gets dysregulated very easily, very quickly, it means that it gets dysregulated also by good things wanting to come in, right? Which means that we sometimes sabotage good things because our nervous system gets dysregulated. For example, if you have a business but you are heightened in your sensitivity to reacting to stress, it means that maybe there are some new offers or some new people who want to work with you. But if you are afraid that it's going to it's going to overwhelm you and that it's going to be too much for your nervous system, you're going to subconsciously sabotage it. So I truly believe that the more you regulate yourself, the better you will hold good things and amazing, abundant things that want to come to you, because this is the state where we can hold it. And especially scientifically, physiologically, you literally only have access to the good feelings in life almost only when you're regulated. Our creativity is in the regulated state, our intuition is in the regulated state, our sense of pleasure is in our regulated state. So when we're dysregulated, our body just shuts everything down that it doesn't need in order to survive. So this is why it's hard to enjoy life when you're constantly dysregulated. And other things are knowing how to come back from a trigger or stress and living your life from your adult self. And the adult self is now a concept I want to explain to you so you know why nervous system regulation is just one tool of many. The adult self, I work a lot with it, okay? And I want to explain it to you because it's very valuable. The adult self is, you can imagine your psyche being like a bus, okay? Or yourself being like a bus. And on the wheel on this bus, ideally sits your adult self. And your adult self is the regulated one, is the confident one, is the one who knows I can do things, life is okay, I can connect easily to people, I feel good with myself and with my choices and with life in general. But in the back of your bus, you have many parts of you. Like you have your inner child, you have your part that gets angry very easily, you have jealous parts, you have sad parts, you have many, many parts in your bus. And depending on what happens outside of your bus, it can happen and one of these parts jumps in front and pushes over your adult self and takes over the wheel of your bus. This is the moment, my friends, when life feels like you switched movies. In relationships, for example, it's 2 seconds ago, you loved your boyfriend and you said he's like the most and you were in love with him and everything was nice. And then you get dysregulated and suddenly you see him completely different. You have completely different reactions. You're angry. You're almost questioning the whole relationship. And this is when we switch those movies and we question, like, how can it be that on some days I love myself, I love my life, I'm confident. And then on some days, I feel like I like everything so much and I don't know how to do things. This is literally when old parts come up and then take over the wheel with old stories of ours. And I work a lot with the adult self. What I do is I try to access it as much as possible because I believe that we all have an adult self that knows how to navigate our life the best way. And those are the 3 channels I know how to access this adult self. The best ways I found is through the body, through emotions, through the mind, obviously. And through those channels, I have tools that I love. The body is the nervous system regulation, which I'm going to share with you today, and the menstrual cycle of women. I believe that this is a huge impact to the mental health and to get back to adult self of women. Emotions. I believe that those parts have a certain story from our past, and this past is usually related to our families or origin or like transgenerational topics. So I have beautiful tools how to work with those, right? Because sometimes it doesn't like help just to do nervous system regulation tools if you still have parts that are like trapped and that are hurt and that need attention and healing. And then the mind part is the change in core beliefs and the affirmations. This is where I work with like manifestation tools, where I really believe, of course, that our thoughts create our reality, but I think that it's very hard to access that if you still have parts that are hurt and if you don't know how to work with your body to get in a safe space, okay? Okay, so this is the introduction, everybody, okay? Let's just take a deep breath together. You made it through the first part. Another one. Beautiful. Okay, so let's start with me explaining to you how the nervous system works. I cannot explain how the nervous system works without obviously going to the polyvagal ladder. And trust me, I will avoid as many fancy polyvagal theory words as I can. Okay, I will just give you the simple basic tools that you need to actually work with it. You just need to know that basically we have 3 states as human beings that we can be in when it comes to sensation and nervous system, okay? The first one is the green one, which is the adult self that we just talked about, the regulated one. So basically here it also says, I feel safe, confident, and capable, okay? You say, I've got this, I can deal with life, right? Then you have the fight or flight. This is how I call it. I don't really agree with those colors. I will tell you later why. I actually think that the sympathetic one is the red one, because this is how it feels like. The sympathetic one is, I feel unsafe and I need to do something now, right? My environment is dangerous. And this is like the state where you get stressed, when you start to have racing thoughts, when you start to overthink, when your heart rate starts pumping, when you start having a shallow breath, and when you feel like, I need to do. This is the emotional state where you want to fight, where you will start being aggressive, or want to start to pick fights with your partner, for example. Or when you constantly just can't calm down because like your thoughts are racing. This is usually often for people who cannot sleep at night, is because they're still in this state and they cannot shut down because they don't have tools to shut down, right? And then the last one, and this is, for me, feels the last one is the blue state. Actually, I'm going to show you another graphic where it's more appropriate. So the freeze state. So we have the calm, the regulated state, and we have the fight or flight, and then we have the freeze state. And the freeze state says, I feel overwhelmed. Everything is too much. And you get very dark thoughts. It's like nothing has meaning. Nothing makes sense anymore. And it's this, I just don't have what it takes. Like this is everything. It feels like this world is just too much and you cannot deal with it. This is the state where you usually lie on your couch or in bed and you literally can't move and everything feels just too heavy to even start, but it's not resting. You don't really rest because you still feel like almost depressed. You feel, low, you feel heavy. And this is the state of the freeze, okay? Here we have another graphic again, just to see it better. So we have the safe, social, engaged. So in the regulated state is when you connect easily to people, when you enjoy being in social gatherings, and you just feel connected to yourself and to life in general. Then you have the fight or flight, which is the mobilized, agitated, frantic state. And then you have the freeze, which is the numb, collapsed, and shut down state, okay? This is the base of everything. Here you can see the actually, for me, appropriate colors, okay? Because this is how they feel for me. It feels when I'm in my regulated state, it's green, everything's nice, I'm just myself. Then I have the fight or flight, where it feels like fire, where I only see red, right? Where it feels like things need to move and I get like irritated and everything is just too much and I'm super sensitive to things. And then the freeze one, and usually you get into the freeze one when you're too long in the fight or flight. Because the fight or flight means that you have energy that wants to be discharged somehow, either through fighting or to eliminating the danger, whatever the danger is. And mostly it's just in our head, it's not real, right? But whatever the danger is, and if you're too long in the fight or flight, what happens is that your body just shuts down because it thinks that, oh my God, she cannot eliminate the danger, she cannot eliminate the enemy or the stressor. I'm just gonna shut down now because I cannot hold this exhaustion anymore of being in fight or flight. I'm gonna shut down. And then you go into freeze. And then it's like this scenario where you're just like numb and collapsed and you can't do anything. And yeah, so I also associate the states with like the flow is the green one, the chaos is the red one, and the darkness is the blue one, right? When it gets very cold and meaningless. And I just want to ask you all a little question. Have you heard about the fawn response? Because most people don't really talk so much about the fawn response. Do you guys know what the fawn response is? What it is? Like, can you write in the chat what you think it is? Never heard. Okay. Okay, you fawn. It's like before freeze. Okay. Yes, people pleasing, no boundaries. Appease or plague. Yes, when you please to feel safe. Yes. Okay, let me explain to you what the fawn response is, okay? The fawn response is the state that you go in when you completely dissociate from your body and from your needs and become a version of a person that you know that the other person you interact with needs. I'm gonna say this again, okay? You become somebody who you know that the other person wants you to be or needs you to be, okay? And the fawn response literally is like you disconnect from everything from your body, okay? You shut it back, you don't feel your needs anymore, you numb yourself completely, and you become a version that is completely attuned to the other person that is in the room. It could be your partner, it could be your parent, it can be whoever. And you almost are hyper vigilant and attuned to everything that this person wants and needs, and you become that without considering what it actually is that you want, or that you, and when you're in a fawn response, you cannot even feel what you really want, because like you're so numbed out, you're so disconnected that you just are this person, and it almost feels like, you know, you really want to do those things, even though it's just a fawn response, you know? So does anybody relate to this, to fawn responses? Like, have you had situations, can you relate in any way to doing this? Yes, I see. Yes, of course. I think that it's very common. Yes, especially when dating. Exactly. Usually we fawn when we had, it's very common, especially in people who had aggressive parents, right? Because you learn that in order to stay safe, you become somebody who they want. And when you're this person, it eliminates the danger of them getting aggressive. Or when you have dismissive parents who weren't really attuned to your needs, because we often fawn to a person that we are deeply dependent on to meet our needs. So when you have, for example, a depressive mother, or somebody who were not able to meet your needs properly, you often also fawn as a child, because you try to find ways how this person can meet your emotional needs, because you sense that there's not a lot of it. And when you're really yourself, there's a danger that when you're yourself, that it's going to be even less, right? Because when we're ourselves, we get like irritated, we are angry sometimes, and all of that can put us into danger to be rejected by our parents when we really deeply need the parent to meet us. And then we fawn, we create the person for our parents in order to get our needs met. Does it make sense? Can you give me a thumbs up if it makes sense for you? Okay. All right. Very good. And now I have another question. Tell me, where do you think the fawn response belongs to? Is it a fight or flight or the freeze response? Where do you think it belongs more to? Like intuitively. Freeze, yes, freeze, yes, exactly. Exactly, it's the freeze response. I also have another example. The freeze response also happens, do you know this? Maybe it's just me, but I associate the fawn response when I'm in social gatherings. This happened a lot when I was a teenager, when I would go into social gatherings with friends, and actually I didn't like anything about the gathering. Either I was way too overstimulated, or I was way too tired, or I didn't want to be there. But then you have like this weird state where you're just smiling, and then you fake laugh to everything where other people laugh, but actually you're completely disconnected from the happening, and you're just like there and numbed out, and it's almost like you don't even have energy to really leave, you know? So you just stay in this uncomfortable state, and this is what happens to me. Like, do you know what I mean? Do any other people have that? This is when I do it all the time. Exactly. This is a fawn response. It means that you don't have skills yet. And when you fawn a lot, then it means that you need a lot of boundaries, right? We need to connect back to our needs and to really feel what we really want, and to gather tools to actually get what we want, and to advocate for ourselves, and yada, yada, yada. We will talk a lot about it in my group program too. Okay. So then, an important reminder to the nervous system in general: your nervous system is unique like a fingerprint. And I mean it. What that means is that your nervous system, with the reaction that it has, and the sensitivities that it has, and the tools that it needs in order to regulate back, is completely unique to you and your life story. Okay? This is why it's so hard to figure out how to work with the nervous system, because there's not one solution to all of our nervous systems, because your nervous system will need something completely different to complete different times, like me, okay? This is why this journey, I swear to you, if you commit to this journey, it will be one of the most beautiful, intimate, self-loving things you can do. I have worked over a decade on myself, and I learned So many new things, a whole new world opened up to me once I started to listen to my body instead of just working on emotional stuff. I mean, the emotional stuff is important, but you know what I mean. It's like what the body has, when I started to connect to it, I realized so many things that I needed to like be more sensitive about with myself, or need different, things to adjust in my life to be really truly happy, to advocate better, all of those things. Okay. So this is why this journey I'm going to share with you as close as I can to give you the tools. But in the end, you need to figure it out with yourself to have a communication and a relationship with your own body. This is what this masterclass is about, basically. Then another reminder that is very important when it comes to nervous system is don't trust your thoughts when you're dysregulated, okay? Even if you go out of this masterclass and you don't do one single nervous system regulation tool after this, at least remember that when you're dysregulated, you're not allowed to trust your thoughts, okay? When you're stressed, when you're in freeze, or when you're fawn, I know that there's a lot of set of thoughts that come up in that moment, but trust me, they're all old, okay? They have nothing to do with the real world, with the real reality you live in, because the only state you have access to the real reality is when you're regulated, okay? And this is why people say often that, oh, let me just meditate about it for a second, okay? Because when you meditate, you regulate, and then you have suddenly access to a whole other part of your brain, literally. Because once you're dysregulated, you can really imagine it like wires just breaking, and you lose access to a huge part of your prefrontal cortex, which is your logical thinking, which is your rationality, which is your creativity, okay? You literally lose access to it. You just don't have access to it anymore. The only thing you have access to is survival patterns. And this is why it's important to regulate yourself, because this is the place where you have all the nice, juicy little things of life available to you, okay? Okay. And the goal, of course, of nervous system regulation is not calmness. I know I talked a lot about now regulation, but it's not always being in a Zen position. The Zen position is pretty nice, but the goal is flexibility and expression. And what I mean by that, flexibility is actually the ability to bounce back when a stressor was there. So we go through life and there's something stressful happens, and I do want you to react properly to the stressor. Of course, I don't want you to just stay zen when somebody shouts at you. You are allowed to get dysregulated when you are in a stressful situation or you have stressful things happening. So of course you should express that. But the question is, how flexible are you to, after the stressor, bounce back to safety again? Because who knows this thing that you go on through your day and then something happens that stresses you out, and then your whole day is shitty after that because it just throws you off and you don't know what to do with yourself anymore because this one thing stressed you out so much that it ruined literally your day, right? This is what I mean when I say we need flexibility, because of course you can be stressed by a thing, you're human, but how quickly can you come back once it's over, right? So it's not calmness, it's flexibility and expression, okay? All right, exercise time. So we already reached the first exercise that I want you to do, okay? So take pen and paper. This is gonna be important and very insightful, I promise. Pen and paper or your laptop, whatever is your favorite way of writing and doing some self-reflection work, okay? What I want you to do next is we're gonna go through all three states because I'm sure that you recognize some of them. I would leave the fawn response. If you want to incorporate it a little bit into the freeze, you can, but you can choose which kind of freeze you associate to the best, because I want you to remember, we're going to go through, I'm going to show you in a second, we're going to go through the states, and I want you to remember one of the last memories you have, wherever that is, that you were in that state. And then I want you to answer those questions, okay? I have a little background music going on that you should be able to hear. Can you hear it? Can you give me a thumbs up? Oh, it's cool. Okay, so I want you to think of a time that you've been regulated the last time, or you have been in a green zone in the flow. And I want you, you have 5 minutes for every stage. So unfortunately, we can't go too much through this. It's like a PowerPoint program. But just take a couple of words to each question, okay? So the physical, when you were in your flow state, how does your body react when you're in this state? What are the reactions and sensations physically that you have when you are regulated? Emotional, what emotions are present in this moment for you? Then what are the main thoughts that are present in this moment where you are regulated? Relational, what is your view about yourself, the world, or life in general in this moment? How do you see other people? And then if you're a very quick writer, you can take the focus question, but it can be that you don't even have the answer yet to it before you start working with the nervous system, which is, can you already identify what triggers this state? What needs to happen outside of you for you to get there? Okay, so you will have now 5 minutes. Oh no, you have 5 minutes. Can you hear me? Okay, I see. Can you hear me now again? Yes? Yeah, okay, cool. Sorry. Okay, so I learned now that I want to be fancy with the background music, but it doesn't work like at the same time. I'm gonna show you the slide again in a second when we start the exercise. So what I wanted to say is that I want you to go through all of those questions, okay? We have 5 minutes per state, so unfortunately you can't go too deep into it because these are slides from the group program, but just try to put like a little bit to each question, some words, so you can connect to the state that we're talking about. And you will see that the last question, the bonus question, is if you are a quick writer and you're quickly through it, you can also answer the bonus question, but it could be that you don't even know the answer to the bonus question yet, okay? So I want you to go through all 4 main states that we have when we are, or channels that we have when we are in one of the states, which is the physical one. How does your body feel? The emotional one. What kind of emotions do you have? The mind one. What kind of thoughts do you have when you're in the state? And the relational one. How do you see yourself? How do you see other people? How do you see your life or the world in general when you are in this state? Okay. So try to remember one of the last times, your last memories that you were in a regulated state, and answer these questions. And you have now 5 minutes for it. Okay. All right, everybody. These were 5 minutes. You can always go back to this, okay, after the masterclass if you want to work more on it, or for the people who are who want to join the group program, we're gonna do this in depth too there. But yeah, and we're gonna just straight ahead go to the next state, okay? And if you want to continue, I can send you the slides after that. If you want that, you can tell me, and then I'm gonna send it to you. We're gonna start with the next state, which is the fight or flight, okay? And we're gonna do the same. You just try to remember one of the last times you were in a stressful, agitated, irritated, anxious state, and then answer the questions, okay? Right. All right, everybody. So before we continue, I want to do some regulation, okay? Because it could be that because we thought a lot about stressful things and you know that our body and nervous system can't really distinguish between just thoughts and like the reality basically. I want to do a little bit of regulation now to show you some like two other of my favorite tools that I'm always using to regulate myself. So because I'm assuming that for some of you, because you now thought a lot about the fight or flight state, it could be that your body already started to react, okay, and to prepare accordingly to the stress, you know? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shake it out, okay? Because there was some build up energy, and shaking your whole body helps your nervous system to calm down because it helps it to move this energy that starts to build up, and we just shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Exactly. Beautiful. I do shake sessions at least 2 times a day, literally. Maybe not that much anymore, but I used to a lot. So just shaking it out is massaging basically also your vagus nerve. I will tell you about it in a second. So we just shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, and we take a deep breath. Beautiful. And what we do next is we're going to do a little self hug, okay, from a somatic experiencing. And you do that by one hand underneath your armpit, and the other hand you just place wherever it feels nice to you, okay? And then you take a deep breath and you try to relax into this self hug of yours. I always like to massage myself a little bit. And what I love to do is I like to tap myself like a little bit, because I don't know if you heard about the butterfly method too. You usually do this on two sides, because everything that is bilateral, which means with your right hand on your left side and with your left hand on your right side, you almost trick your brain a little bit that somebody else is doing it, which is actually pretty cute. The body thinks for a second that somebody else is hugging you and somebody else is there, which regulates us back into safety. Okay? All right. Beautiful. Okay, and we're going to go to the last state, okay, the free state. So I invite you to think about the memory, the last time where you felt this heaviness. I know that's uncomfortable. We're going to do some regulation after that too. Okay, I know that it's uncomfortable to even go there with your mind. But like, think about the state where you had this heaviness, where we're just exhausted, and where you literally almost like every little thing in life felt like too much. And I invite you to like answer the following questions. All right, everybody. I hope you had enough time to at least like dip your toes in the states that we all have, basically. Can you guess, or no, before I continue, let's do some regulation, because it could be that your nervous system didn't like that, what we just did. Okay. So I'm going to share with you some two other tools that are my favorites. And the tools that I often use to, especially when I'm in public, right? Because you cannot just like be in a car and suddenly like with somebody and suddenly you just start shaking like crazy, or stand at the cashier, in the supermarket and just shake it out. I mean, you could, but I have more like subtle, obviously, tools that I do when I'm in public and I get dysregulated. I'm going to show you. So first of all, my ears, right? Because the vagus nerve has many branches into the ear. We're just going to start for a second to massage. Okay. And remember, when you do the ears, it's not about pressure, because the vagus nerve is not that deep. It's literally like, it's just about the sensation. So we're going to start to massage our ears. Beautiful. And then we have basically 3 holes, right? The one is right here above. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? It's like the first, right, when you like slide into your ear. And then I usually just, even in social gatherings, I sit there and nobody notices, but I'm just like doing this when I get tired, or when I feel like something is dysregulating me, or, I just want a little bit of comfort for myself. I'm just massaging my ears. And then the other one is right below. We have right below another kind of hook that we can put our finger in, and then just slightly massage it in one direction or in the other. You can play around with it. Just take a deep breath. Exactly. And then the third one is right at the beginning of our canal. And there we can also massage, or I just saw on the Instagram of the holistic psychologist, she said that you can like pull down. When you go a little bit into the canal and you like pull down and you just hold there for a second. My body already knows. This is why I can already sense that I'm relaxing when I do this. Beautiful. So I do this a lot. And then the other thing that I do while I'm in public is box breathing or triangle breathing. Okay, I'm going to show you, because breathing obviously signalize, like our breathing patterns signalize to our vagus nerve if it can relax or not. Okay, I'm going to share with you in a little bit what a vagus nerve is. But my favorite one is triangle breathing. So triangle breathing means you breathe in for 5, you hold for 5, and you exhale for 5. So you breathe in, do it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, and you exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again, in your own speed. And I do this a lot. So I'm going to share with you in a second why, but let me know in the chat, how was the exercise for you? Like, how was it to really think about the states? And of course, the reason why I wanted you to at least dip into this exercise is because it's very important to realize and be aware of the first symptoms of your regulations, of your dysregulation state. So by the thoughts, for example, for me, because I'm so mind-based, I can hear by the thoughts that I have in what kind of state I am in. So if I have thoughts like I need to do, and I get like irritated and, my thoughts are racing, I know that I'm in a fight or flight. And when my thoughts sound like, I can't do this, I'm never enough, nothing what I do is good enough, everything is so overwhelming for me, I know that I'm in the other state. Yeah, surprising to get triggered by just remembering those states. Yes, exactly. This is how we work. Our nervous system, this is why most of us run around completely dysregulated and think it's normal with chronic stress, because we don't know the rules of our nervous system. And because we just think so much about stressful things and worries and things we need to do at work and yada, yada, our body constantly prepares us physiologically for the threat, because it doesn't know that the threat is just something in work and not something that we literally need to fight or flight for. Great exercise to get clear about what triggers me and to get dysregulated. Exactly. To feel the difference, right, between when you're regulated and when you're dysregulated. Bonus question is quite difficult to answer. Exactly. This is what I thought. And do you know why? Can you guys guess why it is hard, and why I already said before that the bonus question, because for everybody who doesn't know, the bonus question is if you can identify what needs to happen in the outside for you to get into the state, like what is the trigger that gets you into the state? Can you guess why it is hard to answer that at the beginning of your journey when you do nervous system regulation tools? Why it's not so easy to answer that right away? Let me see if some of you have some suggestions. Or blind spots. Yes, that's a great answer. Yeah, it's mostly because we need time, because most of us never worked with our nervous system, which means that we don't even realize when we go into a dysregulated state. So we just catch ourselves just being in it, and we don't even know what needs to happen. And I will share with you later, I have a slide that says, be prepared for lifestyle changes. And what I mean by that is the more you regulate yourself, the more you will be aware what actually is the trigger. Because most of us live in a triggered life. Most of us run around and completely numb, are completely numb to actually stressors in our environment. And we just think it's normal and we just go on. This is why it's hard to identify what of the things are actually the real triggers. And the more you regulate yourself, the more you work with nervous system regulation tools, the more you will literally feel what elements are exactly what stresses you out. Is it maybe just your boss, but actually you're like your work, instead of before it's just the work, you know? Or I don't know, for me, it was cooking. I knew that I didn't like cooking, but once I started to regulate my nervous system, I felt how much cooking dysregulates me. I never knew this. Like, it's insane how stressed I get by cooking. So what I did, I adapted lifestyle changes. I needed to change some things around my private life to cook at least as possible, or at least when I cook, I know how to prepare myself. I know that I need to have my tools ready. I know this is just the reality of my nervous system, right? So this is why it's hard to answer it right away before you will get to that answer the more you regulate yourself and the more you create a life that actually feels really good to you. Okay, everybody. So, little recap. It's just a tool, but a very powerful one, okay? You have three main nervous system states, green, red, and blue, which is flow, chaos, and darkness, okay? Your nervous system is unique. Build a caring, curious, and intimate relationship with your nervous system, okay? It's a whole other entity that most of us never touched. The goal is flexibility, not calmness, okay? Okay, and now we're gonna get to the solution part, okay? How do we actually heal our nervous system? This is why we are all here, right? To understand what we can do against it and against the threat of our society. And, because of course, when we talk about flexibility, I don't know if I mentioned that, but we live in a society, in a world every day that is naturally triggering, right? A lot of things that we do, like hustle culture, like the way, like social media, all those little things are actually naturally dysregulating for us. So it's very hard to not constantly be calm, right? That's not possible. So this is why the flexibility is needed in the world that we live in today. But we can, in our little corner, we can create a life that is actually very nice and sweet and peaceful and regulated. So how do we heal the nervous system? I need to explain you the master information, the vagus nerve, okay? The vagus nerve, everybody, can be your best friend till the end of your life, okay? The vagus nerve is incredible. It's mind-blowing for me that I didn't know that before. The vagus nerve is a nerve, a huge one, that goes through a whole body and connects to almost all organs in our entire body. And the vagus nerve tells our organs what to do, okay? According to what is happening, what information it gets from the outside. So the vagus nerve, you can imagine it, this is my favorite metaphor. You can imagine it like a conductor of an orchestra. You know a conductor who like tells the orchestra what to do? This is what your vagus nerve is. Your vagus nerve literally tells all your body reactions and mood even. It even like conducts and leads your mood. So this is everything the result of the vagus nerve, okay? The problem is because most of us never learned how to communicate to the conductor. We all just let the conductor do whatever it wants. And for most of us, our conductor, our vagus nerve, is a very scared, confused, overwhelmed little conductor that doesn't know what to do and stresses us out all day long because he only gets stressful information from outside. And what the nervous system theory is basically the knowledge about the language to communicate to the conductor that it can please calm everything down. And then the conductor tells all your organs, all your mood that, okay, she told me everything's fine. I saw it. She did those exercises. So this is what I need to know that everything is fine, okay? And then your system calms down. And the language of this conductor is through the body. And guys, I'm going to say that again, okay? The vagus nerve, how to communicate through it is through the body. Because, let me know in the chat, what do you think, what is our main channel that we usually use to calm our stress down? What do we think we need to do in order to calm ourselves down? What do most people do in this world when we are stressed? Yes, exactly. Breath, mindfulness, yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, meditation, yes, yes, yes. Let me see if somebody guessed what I want to say. Try to change our thoughts. Yes, this is it. We try to change our thoughts, right? We think that we can think our way out of it. Because when we are stressed, we either have this voice that judges ourselves that we are stressed, something that sounds like, why are you again like this? Can you just calm down? Why do we have this? Exactly. We need to start with the physical. You know, most people think that if I think better thoughts, or maybe if I do this, but why did it start now? What did I do wrong? What can I do now? What can I change? And then this voice doesn't stop and we just don't do anything because we think we just need to think straight and to think the right thing and then it will go away. But it's not at all. Here, we can see it here. 80% of the communication, how the nervous system wants to be, how the vagus nerve wants to be communicated to, is through the body. This is why all the tools I'm going to teach you today, not all of them, some of them are emotional and spiritual and stuff, but most of them are body-based because the vagus nerve needs signals from the body to change, not our mind, not our thoughts, not the next affirmation that helps you. I love affirmation, but you know what I mean. So we want to start with the body. And what we're going to do today, why we are here, is I'm going to share you in a couple of seconds a list of many things that calm the nervous system down. And I want you to create your own toolbox, okay? I want you to decide already, do you want to write it down or do you want to have it digitally? I put it on my notes on my phone, like in the notes app, because I wanted to have it digitally on my phone all the time. And I created a whole site, and I want you to do this too. And I want you to go through this list I'm going to show you in a second. And I want you to pick some exercises, like don't go crazy. Pick like, I don't know, around 5, like 2 to 6-ish exercises that you put on this list as your favorites, okay? And then I want them to become part of your daily life, especially if you have never worked with nervous system regulation tools. What I did, because I have morning anxieties, I worked 2 months straight every single morning. When I woke up, I did 5 to 20 minutes, depending on how much time I had, nervous system regulation tools, a combination of my favorites. And I am a person who cannot stick. I cannot have exactly the same thing every day. I need a variation of things depending on my mood. So, but I want you to have this list ready, okay? And I'm going to share with you a little bit of the guidelines of how to do this list, okay? You go through this list and you make it yours. It should be a loving practice. Make it fun, make it easy, make it supportive. It should fit your lifestyle, okay? Don't put cold plunges in the ocean on your list if, I don't know, you live 30 minutes away from the ocean, you know? This is not what we want. We don't want to exaggerate. You can put it then on the next thing, because another list you can create is of fun things you want to experiment with, okay? Or things that take more time, okay? You can make it colorful. You can romanticize it. And what I mean by romanticizing it, you will see that I will show you at the end. I will show you my example, how I started with my list. And I wrote a poem, okay? I wrote a poem in the beginning because I love words and I'm like just philosophical like that. Then I wrote a poem about it to just get myself into the mood, okay? So you can play around, however, it should be yours, okay? Whatever makes you happy, it should be your little list, your little self-loving practice, okay? Give it a name. Like, do you want it digitally or manually? But you can give it a name. My old coach, she called it her emergency toolkit, okay? I called it coming back home, because for me, my nervous system regulation tools felt like coming back home into my body and remembering that all the safety, all the support, all the love, I can already feel if I remember to come back into my body instead of being in the anxiety all the time, okay? So this is why for me, coming back home, this is how my list was called, okay? You can play around creatively however you want. Then make it easy and accessible. You can diversify. This is what I mean. Like, you can make your favorites, then you can make like things that take longer, some things that you're curious about. You can categorize on circumstances, things you can do like quickly in the car, or if you have an office job, you can think about things you can do like in the break time or throughout like your work, to go quickly to the toilet and do some regulation tools in between if somebody stresses you out, or you know what I mean? You can categorize them in different things. And then remember, your nervous system is unique. There is no best tool of all those tools. It's about you learning what your nervous system likes and in which circumstances you like which kind of tool. It's like a very, very beautiful relationship between you and your body, okay? And now exercise time. I will guide you through, wait a second, because I think on the other one, I also have how should I do this now? Because I have the music on this one again, and you will probably not hear me if I do it. Let me find a solution. No, I was smart enough. I remember now. I just added a double one. Okay, good. Perfect. So I'm going to just go through the tools with you, okay? Obviously, we said breath, okay? Any kind of breath work. Yeah, and before I continue, YouTube will be your best friend. I have a playlist on YouTube with breath work for nervous system regulation, yoga for nervous system regulation, EFT for nervous system regulation. You just go on YouTube and there are tons of different exercises and materials, and you can pick your favorite ones and you can just play around and see whatever you like, okay? So breath work, box or triangle breathing. Box breathing is you breathe in for 4, you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, you breathe out for 4, and you hold for 4 again, okay? Instead of just holding once with the triangle one. Co-regulation. Co-regulation is one of the most powerful ones and probably one of our all's favorites, which is cuddling with other people or with your pet, with somebody else to regulate you. Like social gatherings can be very regulating. Talking to somebody, maybe you can just call somebody that you trust and it will regulate your nervous system immediately. Movement, like yoga, stretching, shaking, dancing, okay? And I want to say to the movement, a little heads up that for some people, too much exercise, like too intense exercise, can be dysregulating because of the adrenaline, right? And the cortisol. So for me, I am a person, I cannot do high intensity because after high intensity, I feel I'm in a freeze state. I'm completely dissociated and I feel worse than before. So depending on your body, for some people, exercise can be actually very regulating. It depends, again, on your nervous system, okay? But big permission here to, if you exercise, you can also keep it very slow, like yin yoga kind of type, okay? Obviously going into nature. right? Connecting to nature. If you work from a laptop, just take your laptop and sit outside somewhere. Like nature, 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 nature regulates us immediately, okay? Napping, just take a nap. I promise you, after the nap, you will be more regulated than before. It's a beautiful tool to regulate yourself. Throat and voice, okay? Singing. And there's the woo exercise that I really love. I love to work with my voice. So I'm going to show you how to do the woo exercise for a second. You just breathe in and then you breathe out the word woo. You maybe cannot hear it because of the mic. It will tone me down, but I'm going to show you. Woo. And then you just hold it as long as possible. It's almost like the right? Like the And I invite you to try it now for a second with me and you to feel the vibration and try to bring the vibration as much as possible into your body. 1, 2, 3. Woo. I love it so much. Because the vibration, because the first of all, the vagus nerve goes very a lot through the like strongly through the throat, and because of the vibration, it's like massages and stimulates the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve tells then our body, oh, this is nice. She tells us to calm down, right? Then we have cold exposure. Cold exposure is one of the fastest way to regulate you, okay? In the beginning, I was running around the whole day with a cold pack on my chest. So you go to your freezer, you just take something from your freezer and you put it onto your chest, okay? And literally this is, before this nervous system regulation masterclass, I took a cold shower just to regulate myself and be my best self instead of in my anxious state because I got nervous, obviously. So I took a cold shower, and especially if you deal with panic attacks or like close to it, cold showers, like water on your hands. You just go through the bathroom and you put cold water on your wrists or on your face. It will calm you down very quickly. It's a very powerful tool. Tapping or touching in general, like EFT, ear massages, self massages. YouTube is your best friend when you want more option for that. Art and angry journaling, okay? Everything that you can let out, like to let the build up energy, especially in fight or flight, okay? Because sometimes in fight or flight, we just need first to let it out before we regulate down. I'm gonna teach that in the group program too, like difference of to first let it out and then to then calm it down. Because when you have agitated energy already built up, it's hard to from then just go down. You first need to build it, like to let it out first. Then we have posture. Our nervous system, like how we communicate with it, is also through our posture. When we have a posture like that, our conductor tells our orchestra that something is wrong and she needs to protect herself from something. So you can literally play and talk to your conductor by correcting your posture throughout the day. I do this a lot throughout the day when I remember. Crying, orienting, the exercise that we did in the beginning, when you take a walk, or you have a long day on the laptop, you just orient a little bit into your room. Then meditation or guided meditation, obviously, affirmations, watching something soothing or funny, spirituality, prayer, rituals, etc. And of course, basic needs, right? I put them into the brackets because this is obvious. If you have already just slept 2 hours, then you don't need nervous system regulation, you need sleep. If you're hungry and you're on a diet because you think you need to change something about yourself and you deprive yourself from food, then you don't need nervous system regulation, you need nourishment, right? Or if you don't drink enough water, you don't need nervous system regulation, you need water, right, to regulate yourself. But I think this is like a common sense I think we all have. So now, you have like 5 to 10 minutes now to go through that, to make your list little and sweet, okay? And to make your own toolbox, basically, of your most favorite things you can do. And don't overdo it. Just choose for the beginning, choose like 3 to 6 exercises, okay? All right, everybody. Are you okay? Do you need more time? Like I can send you, if you want to do it more, give me a thumbs up if you feel like it's okay. Or if you want more time, let me know. Okay, I see some thumbs already. Okay, cute. All right. So what I need you to understand is that I didn't talk. Let me continue. I will just explain to you everything that you need to know, basically. So I want to invite you to try it out for 2 weeks. Okay, you can play around with it, how much you want to do it. I can tell you that in the beginning when I started, and I remember I did a lot of work on myself already. But when I started with those nervous system regulation tools intentionally, once I realized how I actually feel when I'm dysregulated, I realized that I'm dysregulated all the time. So what I did, I literally just walked around and I did nervous system regulation tools every 1 to 2 hours, literally, like some little ones, whatever. I was just, you can ask my boyfriend, I was just in the middle of a conversation, I would just lie down and suddenly start stretching because I realized that something in the conversation triggered me. And then I started doing that. And it's a hygiene, basically. And in the beginning, you will need to do it more often than later, because there is something called the vagal tone. Okay, and the vagal tone is basically the strength of the nervous system, of the vagus nerve. So if your vagal tone is low, it means that your vagal nerve gets dysregulated by every little single thing, and it has no skills whatsoever to regulate you or to strengthen you back into safety, because it's like this amateur poor conductor inside of your body that doesn't know what to do with the orchestra, right? But the more you start training your conductor, the stronger your conductor gets. And when you have, slowly you will get a high vagal tone. And a high vagal tone means that your conductor is confident and knows exactly how to work with your body and can already like react properly to the cues. And even if you are, it's like your best buddy then, because then whatever happens, your vagus nerve knows already, okay, this is a real stress, let me give you a little bit of stress but not too much. The stress is gone, I will now regulate you back because I know you already, right? And it's a beautiful relationship you build up with your body and the confidence you have with your body, depending on the stress, like related to the stress outside of you. So this is why don't be discouraged if in the beginning you feel like it's not really working or it's just little changes in the beginning. I literally did it every 1 to 2 hours. And now I do it a couple of, like, throughout the day when I feel like a little bit. And the big regulation ones, I only do maybe 2 or 3 times a month, literally. And remember, I don't have any pain anymore. Like, and as soon, because my first signs are my stomach pain. When I sense that my stomach cramps up, I just go immediately and do some regulations. And because my vagal tone starts to get high, the minute I start to do it, my vagal nerve knows already, okay, we can relax, she's good. She starts tapping like crazy, so it means she's good, right? Okay, that's important to know, okay? How do you know it's working? You usually wait for the sigh, the yawn, or the burp, right? Maybe even the fart, I don't know. But your body like relaxes, so you naturally will have a or a yawn. Or for me, because it's like I never saw this in any book, it's like my interpretation, because as soon as I get regulated, I start to burp because of my stomach tension, right? So this is like your body will tell you. This is why I'm saying, like, everybody is different. You will get different signs of regulation than me, right? But this is usually what happens to everybody. You get like this, and this means that your vagus nerve told your whole body, she is safe, she can relax now. Okay, I told now everybody, you know, this is what it happens. Don't only do it when you're dysregulated. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't only brush your teeth when you have pain, right? You start before and you build up a hygiene with your nervous system. And then, you know, you build a relationship up with it. Be prepared for lifestyle changes, boundaries, right? This is what I meant before. It can happen that once you start to regulate yourself, you actually notice way quicker which people dysregulate you, which circumstances dysregulate you, and don't be afraid about it. It's actually, trust me, I tried it. It's a beautiful, empowering thing, because the more you get regulated, the more confidence and power and authenticity you have. And you start being super clear in what you like, what you don't like, because you start to connect back to your actual needs instead of being constantly in survival mode. And it's really a beautiful like evolution that starts happening when you do that. And I was not prepared for the evolution that started, because I already did so much work on myself, but this was like on another level. So don't be scared about it, okay? This is my personal example, okay? This is how my first list looked like. Now it looks completely different. But first I started with my little poem, and my poem was, you love being in your body. You love your life. You love the world around you. You just need to remember, come back home. And this was my reminder that my comfort and the safety and the authenticity and the confidence I look for is not in the next book, is not in the next social event I want, it's not in the next coach that I pay. It's literally in myself with my tools. And then I started here. My favorite ones were cold packs. In the beginning, I did cold packs like crazy. Stretching and breathing, like being aware of my breath while I stretch. Affirmations, EFT, shaking, praying. And I had a breathwork sequence on my phone that a friend shared with me that really helped me. And then I had my other tools, things that I wanted to try out, things that I played around with when I had more time or when I felt like it. Then I even wrote like some combos I like some combinations of things that I like to play around with. And some prayers I like. I love to work with prayers and affirmations because I'm a word person. So that helps a lot. Like it touches me always deeply when I work with words. All right, everybody. So, okay. Wait. I almost booked another coaching course last night when I was anxious, although I had just started working one-on-one with someone last week, and I regulated myself, and the urgency, need to book it, went away. I love this story. This is exactly how it works. Once you start to regulate yourself, a lot of things that you used to do start being not important or not urgent, because like the fight or flight has the urgency state in it. I need to do it now because otherwise I will never find a solution. And maybe the next thing is my solution, right? No. Your solution is in regulation, right? And then you see that everything is fine and you have everything under control. So we are basically done, okay? This is like my biggest giveaway for you, in a sense that I really hope you start to work with it. I'm just going to share with you the group program in case you want to even dive deeper, because obviously I told you this tool has limitations. And for example, sometimes we even use nervous system regulation to run away from our feelings, because some people never learn to like feel their feelings. And I'm going to talk a lot about certain like differences in the group program. The group program is called Heal the Self, a path to emotional freedom. Okay. It's a 4-month journey to unlock your true potential and reclaim your inner peace with all of my most favorite tools that I collected over the decades, okay? Every month, we will go through one of my biggest themes that I swear by, okay? So nervous system regulation and safety is the first month, okay? We will learn everything. I will teach you everything what you need to actually ground. We will do exercises with safety and tools. We will do anger release exercise. I will show you how to like properly process your anger, because this regulates us a lot, and how to use to not ignore your emotions in general, for example. The second month is where we're going to work with those parts in our bus. Remember, I told you that we have many parts that can dysregulate us too, because they're still stuck in old stories and old beliefs. And we're going to do my favorite exercise with that. I will, like, after every month, you will be an expert in this tool, okay? So first month is nervous system and safety. Second month is parts work. Third month is family constellation. You will get your own family constellation if you join the group program. And family constellation means that every part that we have usually comes from a string or from a memory, from experience, from our family or our childhood. And we're going to solve that too. We're going to do some juicy work around that to free our system from that. And the fourth month is the manifestation and vision month, okay? Where we go into, now that we cleared a lot of things out, We're just gonna focus on what we actually want to attract in our life and how to like gain the confidence and the power back over your own life. And we're gonna do this with manifestation tools. You will get a higher self constellation and a purpose constellation for yourself too. And the format of all of that is that every month you get the first 2 weeks of the month, you get a lot of like exercises and videos regarding that for me to make you like an expert to it, okay? And the third week of every month, we will do a group constellation event, okay, where we will only be like 6 to 8 people in one group, where you will get your own exercise and we'll do a lot of deep systemic work there, okay? I will be with you and we're gonna do all together the like constellation exercises that are some of the most powerful I know in general. And then the fourth week of every month is integration week, where we don't do any work, where I'm just gonna give you some guidelines on how to learn to be softer, okay? And the fourth week is almost like symbolic for you don't always need to work on yourself. You know, you can also just learn to enjoy life and to allow pleasure. And if you work on something, then work on being more present with the good things in life, you know? And this is kind of the fourth week of every month where we're gonna practice a little bit the, you know, also the other side of life, that is not only just self-development and improvement and improvement and improvement, you know? And how this looks like is, it's gonna go for 4 months. The price is 50% less because it's my pilot project, okay? And I promise you, this will be the last time you will be able to work with me so closely and so intensely for that low of a price. I promise you, okay? It's my pilot project. This is why I decided to reduce it to 50% less. It's gonna be 170 euros. This is usually less than a constellation costs with me, okay? It will be 170 euros per month instead of 340 euros, okay? And you can book if this is like the basic that you're gonna get. And then you can book like private sessions with me with also a reduced price. With one session will be only 98 euros instead of 150 euros per private session, 60 minutes with me, okay? And the time and effort of the group program will be around 30 minutes a day, actually 5 to 20, depending on your lifestyle, whatever you want to put into. And then, of course, the 3 hours a month in week 3, because like the group coaching call will be 3 hours in week 3, where we do the juicy exercises and really work with constellation work on your system. And the start date is 4th of March. And I only have 16 spots left, okay? Not left, but open in general. So only 16 people can sign up to that. And here you can see the options that you have. You can either just get the basic and pay like 170 euros per month to get like the information of all the tools plus the group coaching experience. You have the plus option, which is plus 1 private session per month with me extra. And the premium options is with 2 extra private sessions with me, which is basically just then like a benefit for you, because then I can support you better in the actual like transformation that is happening, right? And we will work one-on-one. I can use more tools on you, and we can really like wrap it up in a really juicy, transformative way for you if you decide to take the one-on-one sessions. And then you, of course, get 15% off if you pay just in one time instead of every month, okay? So these are the prices for if you pay just once for the whole 4 months together. And my boyfriend, George, already sent the link in the chat if you want to sign up. And yeah, and I think that's it. So again, like the first 16 spots, whoever gets them, gets them. And I am incredibly thankful that you are here and that you stick with me through this masterclass of almost 2 hours. It was a pleasure for me to share that all with you. I really hope that it will help you as much as possible. And of course, whatever you want to ask now, the Q&A are open. You can ask me if you have any questions left, if you feel like you want to share any kind of insights or nuggets or like your biggest takeaway, you can just share it in in a chat. I will just wait a little bit and see if somebody wants to talk and somebody has questions. Otherwise, I would be so happy to work with you and to continue with you on this journey. And oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you. So sweet. Oh, you're so sweet, everybody. Sophia, I think you raised your hand. Do you want to unmute yourself and talk?
Hi, thank you, first of all.
Hello.
I have a question about the cold plunge because I have a massive resistance towards the cold.
Yeah.
It feels too much for me, too
Yeah.
violent.
Yeah.
But people keep telling me, no, you have to try it. It's amazing. It's useful. So I tried to push myself. Last summer, I went in the ocean every day. I could enter like more or less. And I feel that when I focus on the breath, it's very like it's possible also for me. I can do it. So I just don't know here if I should keep pushing myself through the resistance, because the resistance is indicating me that I should do it, or if I should just accept that this tool feels too violent for me and I should rather opt for other softer practices.
Look, there are, like, first of all, I would obviously be aware of how you feel after that, right? So if you really say, I'm going to do this, and after that, I feel like I'm flying, then maybe I understand that maybe you need to push yourself a little bit in the beginning. But I really don't already like the sounds of the words that you explained it with, right? Like to push yourself, to like it's too violent, you know. We don't want to go there. This is why I said, like, you can really have full permission to go as soft as possible, because the soft tools will work as good too. And I am a big advocate in bringing more softness, more permission inside of our system, because most people that I work with one-on-one struggle with too much strictness and too much like I need to, but this is like the best, instead of just connecting to their body. So, you know, I don't really have a yes or no, but it's again like what I said throughout the masterclass. You need to build this relationship up with yourself. It's not what other people think and what other people do, because for me it's exactly the same. Cold plunges into the sea are horrible for me because they ramp up my anxiety, and I cannot, like, again, it's too extreme for me, and I cannot calm down and regulate properly. But cold showers work perfectly for me. Also not like too long, but I start to love them because of the effect I have after that. And this is why I get excited about them. But it's a relationship that comes out of I want good things for myself, not out of I need to push myself to do it. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes. Oh, so sweet. Oh, so cute. Oh, you're also from Portugal. Hi. Beautiful. You're participating in your first family constellation tomorrow? This is so exciting. I love when people also come to my constellations for the first time. I'm so excited how this will be for you. It's usually intense, but also beautiful. This is how I tell people. And it's very, very magical too. So I wish you the best for your first family constellation experience. I have some people here who have been also to my last family constellations for the first time too. And yeah, it's a very magical, unique experience. The regulation tools are same for both states, the red and blue? No, they're not. Like usually you need to use different, this is what I'm gonna do in my group program. We're gonna talk about the details and the fine levels of which tools benefit you more when you're in fight or flight. Because as I said, fight or flight means that there's built up energy that wants to be released, or like usually they say you need to fulfill the circle, right? And the circle is that when it builds up, you know, and you have like, you're already like this, you cannot just sit down and meditate suddenly, because your thoughts are racing, your blood is pumping, right? So usually what I suggest and what I work with my clients is that we first do exercises that release first the energy, and then we kind of do slowly, when the energy is released, then you will feel naturally that your cycle wants to be completed. And then we do some of the softer regulation tools. And when you're in freeze, it's even more complicated, because freeze means that you have like the shutdown that needs rest because you were too long in the fight or flight, but you also have energy built up that never released. So in the freeze state, it's a really fine dance between allowing yourself the rest, because it means that you need rest, basically. When you're in freeze, it usually means that you have been overwhelmed for too long in the past days or hours or whatever. So usually you go into allowing yourself some rest, but slowly working with soft activating tools, you know, like with slow like movements. Don't let yourself be too much into the darkness. Allow yourself the rest, but also try to, what I do when I'm in freeze, I very slowly start to stretch my body, which feels in the beginning when you're in freeze so unnatural to do that, because you just want to shut down. But I lovingly then just stretch. I do very soft regulations, like hugging, like massaging, but nothing too much, because then it will dysregulate you out of the freeze again. So we need to bring in a little bit of movement, which doesn't happen naturally when you're in freeze, while also allowing your body to actually rest properly. So we don't go from freeze to shake it out, but it's like a beautiful balance between, okay, I'm gonna take now this nap because I'm in freeze state. I'm okay if I just binge watch Netflix for 1 hour. But then after that, I'm gonna slowly signalize to my vagus nerve that we can slowly get out of the freeze, you know? So does it make sense with the balance? Like you need to almost give your body them both when you're in freeze. And this balance is unique to everyone. So this is what we're gonna do in the group program too. I'm gonna like give you some tips and practices on how to figure out what your body needs when you're in a freeze state, because this is like a more complicated state to be in because both energies are active. I will share the session recording via email. Yes. Yes. Cool. I'm so happy that you could get something out of it. I love it so much. That was a pleasure. And just for you to know, fun fact, this is the most regulated that I have ever been presenting something in my entire life. Usually I get like this very strong cramp, you know, because in my stomach, because I get so nervous when I do those things. But because I literally had a cold shower before, I did some dancing, some shaking before, and my vagal tone is just more intense. I feel like I just talked to a friend right now, which is mind-blowing for me. Like I will now leave the masterclass and just be happy that I literally managed to have a masterclass dysregulated. So trust me, it works. And yeah, so thank you very much for celebrating with me. Cute. So sweet. Okay, do we have any more questions? Do you want to share anything, what you learned, or what was like the most kind of impact you had, anything you want to do for the future? Oh, thank you so much. You're showering me with so many compliments. I didn't expect that. That's so sweet. Thank you. Oh. So cute. Yeah, and for everybody who joins the group program, the confirmation email will come tomorrow. So don't wonder if you don't get any confirmation for your order. You will get it tomorrow. We're working on it. Can you tell us more about the family constellations? Yes, of course I can. Wait, for me, it brought various pieces of the puzzle together, which makes a huge difference. Thank you again. Oh my God, I'm so happy to hear that. This is what it did for me too. It like brought like so many things that I didn't understand so far in my healing journey, like all together. And I understood how to, like, it's almost like I love that you said like the puzzle piece, because this is how it feels in my journey. It feels like this is the information I didn't have so far, right? Like it's the body thing that I needed to have in order to really come to a life that feels just nice and sweet and present, you know? Okay, so family constellations, I can share a little bit about it. Like, do you want to tell me what do you know about it? Like, are you like zero knowledge? It's usually like a very powerful tool that is done in a group with people where one person of the group is the client and the others are mostly just strangers, right? I have my newsletter and my people and my promotion where I send out, I have a constellation and then people can sign up to be participants, okay? And then I have one client and I have those random participants in a room. And what we do is we constellate the family of the client. So what that means is you can imagine it like a theater play, right? So the client chooses somebody from the room to play, literally like an actor, to play their mom, their dad, themselves, and sisters or brothers that they have. And then the client positions those people into the room in the middle of the circle and sits down next to me, and then we just watch. Okay? We literally just watch those people act out a family that they don't know about. And the magical thing that happens in a family constellation, which is science cannot prove why this happens, but it happens, is that after a while, those strangers in the middle of the circle start acting exactly like the real family, where the client, 100% of the time, I never had one single, and I'm a constellation therapist since 8 years, I never had a client say, this, I don't know what they're talking about. This is not how my family works. Usually, either tears start happening immediately when they see it because it's so accurate. And the people inside, they don't even need to have any previous experience. What happens naturally in us human beings is that when we relate to another person and we pretend to be one person, we start having different reactions to the other person, like we are literally acting. And I know that everything that I'm saying sounds very abstract if you have never participated in a family constellation before, but I promise you it makes sense, it works. It is one of the most like deep tools that you can have. So in a sense that it can get very intense, but it works also very deeply and efficiently, right? And then we have several rituals that go on to heal the family system, basically, with this tool. And a lot of the elements of this tool we will use in the group constellation event once a month that we're going to do together, because I believe it's the best tool so far to literally change things long-term inside of your system. And you will see what I mean if you ever join a family constellation. Will the family constellations be live or online? They will be online. They will be the group ones, the whole group program will be online. My first family constellation with you was magical. Thank you for being so inspirational. The sessions were great. Thank you so much. I still remember our first family constellation. It was so beautiful. I know, I still think about it. Yeah, thank you so much. Cute. All right, so I'm still gonna wait to see if people have more questions or just something they want to share with me. Can you do with your partner, or does it have to be with strangers? No, you can have your partner and family and friends involved. Family not. Sorry, I just said it too quickly. Family not. You cannot have your family in your own family constellation, except of some exceptions, but usually it's not recommendable because they will react very strongly to your constellation. And usually every family member has a different story about the family. Yours, like siblings, have two different parents than you have, basically, because the experience of those parents and their childhood is sometimes completely different. So this is why you can have your partner there if you feel comfortable. I always ask a couple of questions before to see in what kind of way you want to have your partner involved. But it's possible if you feel comfortable. You can also do it with friends. I did it a lot of time with friends if you feel comfortable enough. It depends on the person. Some people prefer it to be strangers. Some people prefer it to be people who they know. But nevertheless, it always works. Yeah. Of course. Do you have any thoughts on regulating the nervous system within a relationship? Yes, many thoughts. And of course, we're going to share that also in the group program, because I learned a lot about my nervous system with my partner. I think that if I wouldn't have been in a relationship, I wouldn't have been forced to work so hardly on my nervous system. Because by now, I know that this was basically our biggest struggle in the relationship, was that when I get dysregulated, I want to have a fight, because my nervous system works like that when I am dysregulated, I want to discharge this energy. And I learned that my body wants to discharge this energy with another person. So I pick fights, right? And it took me a long time to understand that it's not really something that he does wrong. It's mostly about my state. And when I'm stressed and when I'm dysregulated, I suddenly switch parts, like we talked before, that I switch parts and I see him in a very different way, where I could find every little thing that he does wrong, apparently, to pick a fight, because I'm dysregulated, I'm stressed, I want to discharge this energy in a fight. And it took me a long time for me, this is like my story, to realize that when I start to fight with him, it usually means that I am dysregulated. And then with the regulation tools, what started happening was that I knew I could observe myself wanting to fight. And instead of fighting with him for the first time in 3 years, I went and did my nervous system regulation tools first. And guess what? It changed the whole dynamic. My tone of voice was different. I also did some anger release exercises like throughout, which we're also gonna cover in the group program, because many women have that. Many women struggle with anger release. This is why our nervous system gets dysregulated when we're actually just angry, because we never learned to express anger in a safe way, right? In a proper way. So it took me some time to work through it. But in general, nervous system regulation in relationships is what I always say is, as soon as you get dysregulated, don't engage anymore with your partner, because you don't have access to reality. You only fight out of past wounds and out of past survival methods. And you don't see your partner as your real partner. You see your partner as one of your past enemies, and you don't even realize it. So what we do, me and my boyfriend, is that we already know, like we recognize on each other when we are dysregulated before the one actually realizes it. So for him, he can sense it in my tone of voice. And I don't even realize that I'm in it. But the way I speak to him, he knows immediately. And then he now tells me, Tamara, stop, right? Don't go into it. And by now I know, oh yes, he's right. I know, I can sense now that he pointed it out. I can sense that I'm really dysregulated. And vice versa too. I can sense by his like body posture and his eyes, I know when he gets dysregulated. And then I start to distance myself, and I am being way more like careful with how I say it. And then I observe him, and then I wait and see if he gets more dysregulated. I know that I need to stop, or I say things to bring him back to regulation. Like, I know that this triggers you, but like, we can do this. I'm here for you. And then I see it in his body that he then, relaxes. And when I see that he relaxes, then we can continue this conversation. But if he would like go crazy and just dysregulate more, and oftentimes I tell him this, I see that you're dysregulated. I don't recommend this, because people who are dysregulated don't like to hear that they are dysregulated, right? But I usually tell him, like, I see that you're dysregulated. And he says, no, I'm not dysregulated. What do you mean I'm dysregulated? I'm just talking to you. This is like blah, blah, blah. So I just tell him, I'm going to remove myself now. We're going to like calm down, okay? Because we know that this doesn't get us anywhere. And then we're going to come back and connect to each other and talk about the problem with our full capacity of brain and heart, and not only with our survivals and fight or flights, okay? And we do this. This is like a regular in our relationship. We have an open communication about that. We know how their nervous system works. So these are my thoughts for now. But again, like, we're going to go through a little bit of more details in the group program if somebody wants to join. Okay, of course. Yes, I love relationship topics. I learned the most. Like, it's almost similar to the nervous system like transformation I made is as impactful, obviously, with my own relationship, because I thought that I was the most healed person I know. You know, this trap when you think like, I worked so much on myself, I'm ready for a relationship now. And then the relationship comes and then you're like, oh, yeah. Cute. Thank you so much. Yes, I love words. This is like because she wrote, you're really great at expressing what you want to say. And this means a lot. I love this compliment so much because it's literally my passion. I love to bring to people to make them understand this abstract world of mental health and emotional pain, because we cannot see it. We can only feel it. Basically, it's invisible. And my favorite thing is to make people understand it through words, through making it really simple and clear for them what is actually going on, because then people feel seen, people feel heard, people feel understood. It gives them hope. It gives them understanding. See you. Bye-bye. Yeah. So thank you very much. Okay. Cute. If you have any more things and any more questions, I'm here to chat with you all. Otherwise, we can all go into our evenings. All right. Okay.